You're with Julian on the brown note and a review of Thor, Love and Thunder. Perhaps the most baffling Marvel Universe film yet. So it's been a rum old road from Endgame, which should have ended everything, with a car crash of movies resembling the DC universe, to be honest. So we were like, we did get Doctor Strange in that really bad film, but the original alumni have been a little bit absent, I guess. But we had Black Widow straight after the Endgame. I think that might have even been the first post-Endgame movie for Scarlett Johansson. And this is the first one to feature one of the gold standard Avengers, which is Chris Hemsworth's Thor. And it follows the very surprising and big success of Thor Ragnorak, which was a shift in tone. Not as much looking at this film as as Taika Waititi from New Zealand, a hot director that might have the wheels coming slightly off on this outing. So he sort of came prominent with Boy and Hunt for the Wilder People, massive hits. I think Hunt for the Wilder People was a great film, but it showed elements of how we can push it too far, and I see these elements in this film a lot. What We Do in the Shadows as well, with Jermaine Clement from Flight of the Conchords. Is that what it's called? Of course it is. And then he went into Thor. Jojo Rabbit got very middling reviews, to be honest, so I still haven't seen it. But this is Thor, Love and Thunder, which occupies a kind of weird place now in the Marvel scheme of things, which is, it starts with Guardians of the Galaxy in it, who have absolutely nothing to do with the film. It's like they're floundering around a bit. Now, I have to say, watching this film, specifically the first half, there's no quality control now in the MCU at all. There's no way that in the past they would have ever let this film be made like it was. There's no one now watch the rushes or anything. So I think because of the great success of Ragnarok after Thor 2, The Dark World was so bad, he was given free rein here, and I don't think he's a little bit too close to Baz Luhrmann to be given free rein on this outing's evidence. The story here revolves around the God Butcher, played by Christian Bale, in a very reasonably good start. So it's based around Christian Bale being like this chief minister to this god on this planet. And all of the people die out through famine, even though they're praying to the gods. And his own daughter dies in his arms, and he's the last of their kind left alive. And he actually physically finds the god and says to them, says to this god, surely you're going to save us all, even though we're all dead for some reason. And the god mocks him and says, I don't care about you at all. I don't care about you. And at that point, he becomes... He gets this sword called the Necro Sword or something, which is from this deity that can kill gods and makes him all powerful. And he kills the god that has let him down. And embarks on this mission to kill all gods throughout the universe, which of course includes Thor. Thor himself, in a really bad move, is still dad-bod Thor, which served its purpose greatly in the final Avengers movies, but they should have reset here. We don't need that Thor in the first half of the film. The other good choice here is to bring back the Jane Foster character. I can't believe I've forgotten this really famous actor's name. Natalie Portman. So she was in it. She was one of the sadly missed, I think. I really liked the first Thor film. It was like Captain America. It was very sort of hokey and fun and everything. And romantic. And she was great in that. And she got saddled with Thor Dark World, which was a dead end that everyone hated. And was left out of Ragnarok and didn't appear in anything else. But she comes back here, and her character, like there's some really dark elements here. So her character is dying of cancer, and she seeks out Thor's hammer. And we find that Thor has actually blessed this hammer to, his original hammer, not the second hammer that he got, the one that was destroyed in Thor Ragnorak. And he puts like an unintentional spell on it saying you have to look after her for the rest of her life. So when she actually goes to where the Asgardians now live in Norway or wherever it is, as this refugee colony, the hammer forms together and she becomes a superhero. And they don't really go into too much detail there. It's just kind of tossed off, really tossed off. So that's the rest of the film is basically the God Butcher Christian Bale character is trying to get to a thing called eternity in the middle of the universe, where eternity is this great being that will grant any wish, and his wish is going to be that all of the gods die in the whole universe, which includes Thor. And Thor and the Natalie Portman superhero, Mini Thor, or the Mighty Thor, I think it's called, head off to stop him. And that's reasonably it. So the thing is here is that this is like when I watched Baz Luhrmann's The Great Gatsby, the first half was one of the worst films I've ever seen. And then at the halfway stage, it's like a completely different director took over, as everything snaps into focus and is a lot better. So Taika is just let loose so badly here. He involves his own character, the rock monster, to do a voiceover that's so misguided. The narration is so misguided. The thing is, they make out like this is a comedy. This is not like Thor Ragnarok. It's like Benny Hill. It is continually goofy and silly and stupid and over the top so. But there are the same number of laughs in the normal Avengers movies. They are witty films. People like Downey Jr. and Chris Evans are witty in those films, and Scarlett, all of them have witty banter. They have as many laughs in those films, and this is not like Thor Ragnarok. It's like they've amped it double, and it continually undercuts what you're watching, because we're asked to, focus on the God Butcher and his dead child, and Natalie Portman's character having weeks of cancer left to live. And it stops you engaging with any of those things because it's so silly and it's so gratingly silly. And it just doesn't let up. It's just stupidity in every direction. And it doesn't even look good. Like the opening battle with Thor and the priests on this planet is just bombastic and dumb. And then suddenly at the halfway stage, when I'd given up on this movie ever being anything at all, it's like someone else took over. It's like someone came and goes, no, and snapped it back into focus like a normal, with the tone of a normal Marvel universe, particularly the Avengers universe movie, where everything gets better, including the visual representation. When they go and visit the God Butcher on the moon thing, that from that point on, you're allowed to actually engage in the emotion of the Jane Foster's characters dying from cancer. That's the first time you're actually allowed to sort of wallow in any sort of emotional threads in this whole story. Like there's a bit before that where Russell Crowe, who I thought was perfectly fine, but they go and visit Russell Crowe, who's Zeus, and like they kill him and just leave, and you're just like, this is just so stupid. Like the whole scene is just silly. But once it gets to that second half, it actually ups a lot. It looks fantastic. There are lots of really good visual design from that point on. I thought that Tessa Thompson here was good as Valkyrie. Her character has gone up and down a lot, depending on its use. I thought she was really good here. They actually make they shoehorn a gay bit in, which is that Taika Waititi's characters have two dads, and it's just like, really? Could you have put any less effort into that? So the second half of this I thought picked up. It's too fast as well. It's short for them. It's short, and normally I think these Marvel films go on far too long and have far too 40-minute battle at the end, which spoils the film because narratively they're usually quite strong. Here, I thought the whole progress through that final half of the film, the narration, the narrative storyline was actually really strong, and it was rushed, if anything. And I like the payoff at the end. It was quite an emotional high, which was almost like a replay of that bit in Infinity War where Thanos is in that tranquil water world talking to the daughter he's just killed by throwing off a mountain. Where they say, well, what did it cost you, and all of that. It sort of like aims for that sort of atmosphere. And I thought that whole thing was quite good, and the payoff was quite good. And then they ruin it again at the end by, just making it just ridiculously goofy and stupid for the final few minutes, it's like someone else helmed that part of the film. So it's incredibly grating, but half of it is actually good. And then they just throw in this ridiculously pointless, here comes floor 5 at the end, which they just can't help themselves. So for me, it is a film that exemplifies all of the weaknesses of the director and the quality control that has gone out the window for Marvel. I've given some really bad reviews to The Eternals, to Doctor Strange 2. It's been not a good run, and this should have been safe hands, and I don't know why people like Chris Hemsworth didn't complain about the tone and the script and everything. Like, even in the second half, dad-bod Thor is gone, and we get normal Thor. It's like someone just watched the first half and went, no. So I'm going to give it a 5 out of 10. All of its misgivings would, if it had carried on that tone for the whole film, it would have been arguably the worst Marvel film of all. But it's got a good second half, which, 5 out of 10 for Thor, Love and Thunder.